Discover the incredible truth behind Cracker Barrel's decline, a heartwarming journey of change. In the little town of Rivers Bend, the Cracker Barrel once buzzed with laughter and the comforting aroma of home-cooked meals. Now, the creaking door and fading sign were painful reminders of what had been lost. Charlie, a 38-year-old single father and veteran, watched as families drifted away, carrying with them memories packed into every wooden booth. To him, the place was more than a restaurant. It was a sanctuary where he had shared meals with his late mother, where he had felt the warmth of community wrap around him like a favorite blanket. Every day, as he piled into his rusty truck to drive to his 2 jobs, the weight of responsibility felt heavier on his shoulders. Lily, his sweet daughter, deserved the world, yet Charlie felt like he was barely scraping by. The townsfolk murmured worries about rising costs and changing tastes. They lamented the loss of the simple joys that the Cracker Barrel provided. Charlie's heart ached, knowing that without action, this beloved cornerstone of their town could vanish. Desperation led him to call a meeting in the old high school gym, the very place where he laughed and cheered as a child. The night was charged with emotion as neighbors trickled in, sharing old stories, the first dates, joyous holiday dinners, kids running through the aisles. But as nostalgia brewed, the air grew thick with tension, the room flickering with unspoken prejudices that divided them. Voices rose, arguments flared, and friendships hung by a thread. Charlie realized these wounds ran deeper than he had ever imagined. He had to confront them if they were ever to save their Cracker Barrel. Then, a familiar face broke through the crowd. Ben, the brother he hadn't seen in years. Dressed in a crisp suit, he seemed like a world away from the small-town roots they shared. Tension crackled between them. "I've been watching, from far away," Ben admitted, his voice heavy with regret. Charlie's heart tightened. Could this man, who once turned his back on family for a chase of wealth, help them reclaim what they'd lost? Together, they started brainstorming a plan, blending Charlie's rich family recipes with Ben's sharp business insights. As their ideas took shape, the townsfolk cautiously began to unite, but old division simmered just below the surface. One night, in a passionate debate, tensions erupted, and an unexpected scandal threatened all their hard work. Fears clutched the room. Charlie felt their eyes anchor on him, holding his breath. "Listen," he implored, heart racing in his chest. "We need each other. This isn't just about Cracker Barrel, it's about us. Can we find a way to bridge these divides?" Hope flickered in the air, but would they grasp it? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As uncertainty filled the room, Charlie searched the faces around him. Fear, hope, and a longing for connection shone through. This was more than about food, it was the spirit of Rivers Bend hanging in the balance. In that pivotal moment, he knew it wasn't just Cracker Barrel that needed saving, it was each other. But would the townspeople rise to reclaim what had slipped through their fingers, or would deep-seated divisions keep them apart forever? Silence settled over the gym as Charlie's words hung in the air. The murmurs slowly faded, leaving only the sound of shuffling feet and soft coughs. Charlie met Ben's gaze. His brother's eyes were wide, reflecting a mix of uncertainty and determination. It was Clara, the town librarian, who broke the stillness. With her silver hair pulled back tightly, she stepped forward. "Charlie, you're right. We've let our differences push us apart for too long." Her voice quaked, yet it carried a profound resonance. "But we have to decide if we truly want to bring the Cracker Barrel back. It won't be easy." Charlie's heart swelled. A flicker of hope ignited among the group as more people nodded, a glimmer of solidarity forming in the ambience. "But how do we fix this?" muttered Jake, who had a reputation for being skeptical. "You think a few fancy dishes and recipes will save us?" Charlie bit his lip, weighing his response. It's not just the food, Jake. It's about the memories, the community that gathered here. We have to breathe life back into this place together. He paused, looking around, searching for allies in the assembly. What if we hosted a community event? A revival of sorts, to celebrate what the Cracker Barrel means to us? Deborah, a longtime waitress with a warm smile that could break any tension, piped up with enthusiasm. We could have a potluck. Everyone could bring their favorite dish, and we could showcase our local talent. Music, art, stories. A true push to bring everyone back together. Play the old favorites. Bring everyone home. The words rolled off Charlie's tongue as he imagined the vibrant pictures of laughter and warmth, just like the times he recalled with his mother. While people began to brainstorm logistics and ideas, Charlie felt a sense of ease wash over him. The atmosphere lightened, smiles began to speckle the crowd, and tentative friendships reignited. But just as they settled into productive discussions, a sudden clamor erupted at the back of the gym. The double doors burst open, swinging widely as a group of younger folks, led by Lily, came rushing in, breathless and excited. "Dad! You won, believe it?" Lily exclaimed, her bright eyes sparkling with joy. "We were just at the old community garden, and we found a few of the neighbors. They were wondering why the Cracker Barrel is closing down. They want to help too." Relief surged through Charlie. The support was snowballing. But even in that moment, a nagging thought dug at him. What really lay beneath the surface of these divisions? As conversations abounded and ideas bounced around, Charlie felt that urge again, this looming worry that not everyone was ready to connect, and that deeper issues remained unaddressed. He needed to uncover the truths woven into the past that had kept them from uniting. "Let us do this," he said, raising his voice above the hum. "But we must confront our issues, not just push them aside. There are things we need to talk about. I can feel it." The room fell silent, eyes shifting uncomfortably. Was he overstepping? Could opening old wounds really heal them? In that charged moment, the intertwining of hope and fear played out in their expressions. The energy in the gym swirled, as Charlie realized this venture would be more complex than he had envisioned. What truths were they hiding from one another, and would they surface as they pursued their dream to revive the Cracker Barrel? The answers loomed ahead, waiting to be uncovered. Charlie's heart raced as silence enveloped the room, anticipation crackling in the air. He scanned the faces around him, searching for connection amidst the brewing tension. It was easy to see the apprehension: Ben's furrowed brow, Clara's clenched fists, and Jake's skeptical glare. Yet, deep inside, Charlie sensed a flicker of yearning for change that mirrored his own. Then, Jake broke the stillness. "What do you suggest, Charlie? A therapy session for the town?" His tone dripped with sarcasm, but Charlie caught a glimpse of curiosity in his eyes. There was a spark there, an opening. "No, not therapy," Charlie responded, keeping his voice steady. "But honesty. A chance to share our stories. We all have them. What you feel, what you've lost." He took a deep breath. "It matters to this place. It matters to us. Let us not tiptoe around our emotions like they're some fragile thing. We can unravel them together." Lily chimed in, her enthusiasm unabated even in the face of doubt. "What if we turned our potluck into a storytelling event? We can have an open mic, like old times." Her eyes shone bright, contagious energy spreading through the crowd. "Mom used to say the stories we tell are the threads that weave us together." A chorus of agreeing murmurs swept through the gym. Hope blossomed like spring flowers as people started to shake off the uncertainty. Charlie felt buoyed by the warmth of their renewed spirit. "Okay, so we tell stories," Jake said, a hint of a grin appearing. "But let us make this stuff interesting. We all know the Cracker Barrel serves some legendary dishes. Let us share our kitchen disasters too. If we're gonna keep it real, we might as well get a good laugh." Laughter erupted as the tension began to lift. Charlie felt relief wash over him, but another thought lingered, heavier than before. What about the stories that weren't so easy to share? He thought of the families torn apart by misunderstandings, the neighborly disputes lost to pride. Would those truths rise to the surface, or would they remain buried? Does anyone want to share now? Clara's gentle voice broke through Charlie's musings. Her eyes sparkled with encouragement, yet there was vulnerability in her posture, as if inviting others to take the first step. A few long moments ticked by, filled with quiet anticipation. Finally, an older gentleman named Harold, one of the longtime patrons of the Cracker Barrel, stood up. His hands trembled slightly as he cleared his throat. I never thought the Cracker Barrel would close. My late wife and I celebrated every anniversary here, surrounded by friends and family. But he paused, his voice faltering. I suppose we let life get in the way. We've been distant. I didn't even realize how much I missed this place until it was threatened. Charlie's heart ached, the weight of Harold's words resonating deeply. The truth was creeping into the room, layer by layer, like the scent of fresh bread wafting through the Cracker Barrel's old doors. One shared truth led to another, the gathering of secrets slowly unraveling. The chorus of voices grew as more people opened up. Unresolved conflict surfaced, bridging the distance they had created over the years. Charlie realized that fear and love often walked hand in hand down these roads, and both had their way of shaping the community. As the last story echoed through the gym, emotions hung palpable tenderness mixed with a bittersweet nostalgia. With each shared moment, he saw healing take root. But just as Charlie felt the flickers of hope and unity solidifying, the double doors to the gym swung open once more, this time drawing everyone's eyes to a newcomer. The outline of a figure was silhouetted against the doorway. In that charged moment, Charlie's heart sank. He recognized her instantly. Carly, he whispered, as memories rushed back with a robust force. What did her appearance mean for their venture? Would she open the floodgates to deeper conflict, or could she help illuminate the path forward? As whispers filled the room, uncertainty washed over him all over again. Would this be the closure they sought, or another challenge waiting in the shadows? Carly stepped into the room, the fluorescent lights casting a warm glow over her figure. The room fell silent, the energy shifting as if it had been charged with a sudden electricity. Charlie's heart pounded louder than ever, a familiar mix of excitement and dread swelling inside him. Memories flooded back like a tidal wave, shared laughter, whispers of dreams, but also echoes of a fractured bond. Her eyes swept over the crowd before landing on Charlie. Their gazes locked for a brief moment, and he felt his breath hitch. Was that regret he saw? Or something more? The warmth of the gathering evaporated, the air was thick with unspoken words. Hey everyone, Carly said, her voice steady but soft, I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Her smile was tentative, almost shy. Charlie felt the intensity in the room shift again. No, not at all, he managed to reply, his voice heavier than he intended. We were just sharing stories. Good, she said, stepping further inside, the door creaking ominously behind her. I'd like to share mine. With a few hesitant steps, she moved nearer to the makeshift stage, illuminated by the warm glow of fairy lights. As she stood before them, the doubts and fears of years past seemed distant, but still very much present in the atmosphere. You all know I left town, she began, meeting the eyes of a few familiar faces, and for a long time, I thought I was doing what was best for me. It felt right then, but now she paused, searching for the words while the silence pressed in around her. Now I realize I've missed so much. I didn't just leave a place, I left people. Charlie felt a rush of emotions. He wanted to reach out and tell her how much her absence had changed everything, how the Cracker Barrel never felt the same without her laughter. Just a few months ago, my grandmother passed away, Carly continued, her voice wavering slightly. She loved this community. So when my mom suggested we come home for the potluck, it felt like I had to be here, to reconnect, to find some piece of that love again. It sank in what she hoped to regain through this gathering. The room held its breath with her, the pain and hope blending so seamlessly that Charlie could almost taste it. "Carly," Clara spoke up, her voice unwavering and gentle. "There's always room to reconnect. To grow. To share our stories, even the hard ones." Charlie watched as whispers of encouragement flowed between the crowd. It was like a ripple effect, one story touching another. There was something powerful brewing in the air, an energy that felt almost revolutionary. "I just want to be part of this community again," Carly said, tears brimming in her eyes. "To help mend the things that broke apart. Starting with my own mistakes." Charlie felt a new wave of hope stir within him. Could it be that Carly's return could unite them all? Could she be the missing link that all of them needed to shift toward healing? Before he could respond, Jake spoke up, breaking the emotional weight. "Well, you certainly picked the right time. We could use a few more hands and hearts in the kitchen disasters department," he joked, trying to lighten the mood. Laughter erupted, tension loosening like a slackened string, but amidst the laughter, Charlie saw the truth in Carly's face. There was still vulnerability there. And he knew, the path they were on would take more than just stories. It would take strength and courage to face the unhealed wounds that lay beneath the surface. As Carly stood alongside Clara and the others, he couldn't help but wonder, was this really the beginning of something beautiful? Or was it simply a prelude to deeper revelations waiting in the shadows? That question lingered, heavy yet hopeful, echoing in the space as Charlie's heart raced at the prospect of what might come next. Would they be able to confront the past and emerge stronger together, or would it tear them further apart? Carly took a deep breath, the air thick with hope and anticipation. Jake's attempt at humor had lightened the mood, but Charlie could see the glimmer of uncertainty in Carly's eyes. He wished he could reach across the room, gather her courage, and wrap it around her. "I guess we should get to work then," Carly said, a spark of determination flashing across her face. She turned to the others. "What do you need help with?" "Most of the casseroles are baked," Clara jumped in, always enthusiastic. "But the salads could use some love, and maybe we could finish setting up the dessert table." "A dessert table sounds perfect." Carly nodded, her smile growing warmer. She moved to join Clara, and Charlie felt a little tug in his heart. The scene before him began to shift, evolving from paused nostalgia to bustling activity. As the group scattered, Charlie found himself alongside Jake. The two began to prepare the salad ingredients. "You know, it's not every day someone like Carly returns," Jake said thoughtfully, peeling cucumber strips. "Yeah, it's like she's come back just when we needed her most." "But what will happen next? Can we really move past everything?" Charlie's voice was low, unsure. Jake paused, glancing over at Carly. She was laughing with Clara, and for an instant, the walls that had once kept them apart seemed to crumble. "Sometimes, Charlie, the past is just a shadow. It can't hold you if you don't let it. If she's back and ready to mend things, maybe it's time for us all to try too." There was wisdom in Jake's words, but doubt crept back. Charlie wanted that hope to blossom, but how could they all forgive? How would Carly face the shadow of her choices? Lost in thought, Charlie nearly sliced himself while chopping veggies. "Easy there, chef." Jake chuckled, pulling him back to the moment. "No need to make yourself part of the salad." They shared a laugh, and Charlie tried to shake off the heaviness in his mind. Watching Carly interact with their old friends, he felt warmth spreading from the group like a wave of love. Was it possible they could truly rebuild something from the ashes of their old lives? The potluck started to take shape, and as more dishes arrived, the room filled with the smells of homemade comfort food. Each plate seemed infused with stories and memories, a testament to the history they all shared. Charlie looked around, finding it hard to believe that just hours ago, the air had been so thick with unresolved tension. Now, it was electric with renewed connection. "Carly!" Clara called, their laughter blending into the cheerful chaos of the potluck. "You need to try this mac and cheese. It's to die for. Charlie's heart warmed again as he watched Carly move through the crowd, her laughter genuinely bright. But it was the way she hesitated at each friendship, each familiar face, that tugged at his heart. Maybe reuniting wouldn't be as simple as sharing food and memories. It would take real understanding. As Charlie tossed the salad, he felt an odd mixture of nerves and excitement. What if Carly had returned to truly fix what had been broken, but also had to face what she left behind? "Hey, Charlie," Jake said, snapping him back to reality. "Are you okay? You look like you're a million miles away." "Just thinking," Charlie replied, glancing at Carly again. "About how complicated all this is." "Yeah, it's messy. Just make sure you're ready. Because when she finds out how you really feel, man, everything could change." Charlie's heart raced. Did he have the courage to tell her how much she meant to him? Would it make things more complicated? A knot formed in his stomach. In that moment, a loud crash echoed through the kitchen as someone dropped a plate. Laughter erupted, and it broke the tension, sending ripples across the room. Amidst the chuckles, Charlie could feel the weight of choices blooming in the air. Was this the moment to take a risk? Or wait and see what would unfold between them first? As the noise washed over him, one thought lingered heavy in his mind: was he ready to uncover the truth, or would he let fear keep him silent? Once more. The laughter from the kitchen enveloped Charlie like a warm embrace, but the tension in his heart remained. It felt as if the potluck had taken on a life of its own, where the joy of reuniting battled against the complexities buried beneath the surface. Clara was still busy arranging the dessert table. "Hey, Charlie. Could you bring the cake over here?" she called. Her voice sparked a temporary distraction from his swirling thoughts. "Sure," he replied, trying to focus. As he moved toward the table, his eyes landed on Carly, who was now surrounded by friends. Her smile lit up the room, and for a moment, he forgot about his worries. But then he noticed how a shadow flickered in her expression whenever she made eye contact with someone from the past. Anxiety gripped him. Was she truly ready to dive back into this world, or was she just playing her part? Carefully balancing the cake, he approached the table and placed it down next to an array of colorful desserts. Then he caught Jake's eye. "You think she's really here for good?" Jake considered this for a moment. "You need to ask yourself if you're ready for her to be. Things will change, but we can't just stay frozen in place." Charlie nodded but felt his heart racing at the thought. What if stepping forward meant risking everything? He couldn't help but think back to all those moments he had replayed in his head, each time imagining how he would finally tell her what he felt. If sensing his turmoil, Carly finally broke away from her group and approached him. "Charlie, can you help me with this?" She held up a large bowl of whipped cream, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Of course," he said, surprised at the rush of warmth that spread through him. They moved to the dessert table together, and he took the bowl from her hands, their fingers brushing for a heartbeat. "Is it different?" she asked, glancing around the room at their friends. "Being back?" Charlie thought about how his heart had felt heavy and light all at once since she arrived. "It's a lot of things. Sometimes overwhelming, but it feels good too. Like being home." A silence hung between them, heavy with unspoken words. Carly's smile faded for a moment, and a flicker of vulnerability crossed her face. "I'm scared," she admitted quietly. "Everything feels so fragile now." The weight on Charlie's chest tightened. "I get it. You left, and we all had to pick up the pieces. But we're here now. Together." What was he saying? Was he urging her to stay? The sincerity in her eyes stirred something deep inside him. Why couldn't he just say it? Tell her how much he had missed her. He opened his mouth but closed it again, the words swallowed by his fear. Just then, Clara's cheerful voice shattered the moment. "You two are going to miss all the fun. Dive in here, we need more hands." Carly turned, her focus shifting. "Come on, let us get this whipped cream out," she said with a renewed spark, drawing them back into the whirlwind of laughter and joy. Charlie stepped forward, still wrestling with his emotions, wishing he had taken that leap instead of letting the moment slip away. As they whipped the cream together, he felt the distance between them simmers. They were close, but somehow still miles apart. The evening rolled on, a joyful blend of laughter and shared memories. Each time Carly caught his gaze, Charlie felt the burn of unspoken truths linger in the air, shifting like autumn leaves ready to fall. As the night deepened, he realized the kitchen wasn't just about food, it was about healing and connection. He knew he couldn't hide his feelings forever, but the question lingered: how could he share his heart without risking everything they had? As the potluck crested toward its peak, Charlie spotted Carly standing at the back of the room, her laughter ringing out. In that moment, a thought flashed through his mind: if he didn't act soon, he might lose her all over again. The realization spurred him on. Would he finally take that risk and reveal what was in his heart, or would he let the night slip away like so many before? The weight of his decision pressed down on him, the potential for change radiating in the charged atmosphere of the gathering, leaving him breathless with anticipation. If only he could find the courage to step out of his shadow and into the light of new beginnings. Charlie took a deep breath. The music from the living room pulsed softly, and the chatter of old friends mingled with the clinking of glasses. It was a vibrant scene, a mosaic of laughter and memories being shared. Yet, at the center of it all, Charlie felt a pull, a magnetic draw toward Carly standing just a few feet away. He watched her, the way her hair caught the light and how her smile spread across her face as she recounted a funny story to a small group. Her laugh was infectious, yet it carried a weight of uncertainty that echoed in the corners of his heart. He had seen that flicker of doubt in her eyes, and it frightened him. What if she was just here for a fleeting moment? What if tomorrow took her away again? "Charlie." Jake's voice broke through his haze. "You okay, man?" Charlie blinked, turning to Jake. "Yeah, just thinking." Jake followed his gaze to Carly. A knowing smile crept onto his face. "You're still hung up on her, aren't you?" Charlie sighed, leaning against the counter. "I can't just pretend everything is normal. There's a lot hanging in the balance here." "Maybe it's time to stop pretending," Jake said, tapping the edge of the counter. "If you care about her, you need to go after what you want. Don't let her slip away again." The words rang true, yet fear clutched at Charlie's stomach. If he said something, if he reached out, it could change everything. Would she welcome his confession or recoil from it? What if this reunion was just an act, and the curtain would come crashing down the moment he stepped forward? In that moment of hesitation, Clara burst in again, a plate of sliders in hand. "All right, everyone. Who's ready for round 2 of food? Seriously, I think we might have overestimated how much we needed." Laughter filled the air once more, and Charlie's heart ached with both love and fear. He knew he had to decide. He fought through the chatter and reached for Carly again. This time, he wouldn't let it go so easily. He wouldn't be just a spectator in his own life. "Carly." The word escaped his mouth before he could find the perfect moment. She turned, her eyes wide with surprise. "Hey, Charlie. What's up?" He stammered, suddenly feeling the weight of his decision press on him. "Can we talk for a minute?" Her eyes shifted to the group she had been entertaining, uncertainty creeping into her expression. "Sure. I just need to now," he interjected, trying to keep his tone gentle but firm. "Please." The moment hung in the air, laden with expectation. Charlie could feel all eyes on them, curiosity suddenly surging as everyone momentarily paused their own celebrations. A flicker of confusion and then understanding passed over her face. "Okay, let us step outside for a minute." Relief washed over him as she followed him toward the patio. The night air was crisp, and the cacophony of the gathering faded behind them. Charlie's heart raced, the space between them felt electric. Carly leaned against the railing, folding her arms protectively. He could sense her walls rising again, but he pushed through the fear clawing at him. "Carly, about earlier, I don't want to waste any more time. I can't pretend like everything is just okay." Her eyes widened slightly, uncertainty dancing across her features. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I don't want you to leave again. I've missed you. I've missed us." Her expression softened momentarily, vulnerability breaking through. Yet, there was a hesitation, a flicker of doubt in her eyes that made his heart plummet. "What if I'm not the same person you knew?" she whispered. For a brief moment, the world fell silent around them, but Charlie breathed in determination. "Maybe that's exactly what we need. A new beginning. Together." The words lingered like a prayer, heavy with hopes and fears. Now the question loomed between them like a bridge and a chasm. Would she step forward with him, or would she retreat back into her past? As he watched the uncertainty play across her face, Charlie felt a rush of clarity, knowing that this moment could change everything. Carly hesitated for what felt like an eternity, her gaze drifting to the ground as if searching for answers buried in the wooden boards beneath their feet. Charlie's heart thudded louder in his chest, each pulse echoing his hopes and fears. The night buzzed around them, oblivious to the quiet storm brewing right outside the party's warmth. "I don't know, Charlie," she finally murmured, her voice barely louder than a whisper. "Things are different now. I'm not the same person you knew back then." He felt the sting of her words, but they also gave him a spark. "I get that. People change. Life changes." But he stepped closer, risking the distance that still felt like a divide. "You're still Carly. The girl I remember. The one who laughed too loud, who cared too much. That's the part that hasn't changed." Her eyes flickered up, and he saw a glimpse of the old spark there. "What if I'm not enough for what you need now?" "Enough?" he echoed incredulously. "You're more than enough. You always have been." The surface of her confidence rippled, and he knew she was weighing every word. "I've been so lost," she confessed, the guard slipping just a little more. Ever since she trailed off, and he sensed a shadow creeping into her mind. "Ever since what?" He pressed gently, willing his voice to be the safety net she needed. "Ever since I left. I thought I could find myself, find my way back to something more, something better. But I don't even know what that looks like anymore." The pain in her voice twisted at him. Wanting to comfort her, he reached out, placing a hand softly on her arm. "No one really knows what that looks like. I don't. But maybe we could figure it out together. I know that sounds cliché, but maybe that's what we need, to share the uncertainty." She shifted, leaning more into his touch, and for a fleeting moment, he saw hope reflected in her eyes, a flicker of trust igniting between them. "Do you really believe that? That we could just start fresh?" A tremor of hope laced through her words. "I do," he said earnestly. "Even if it doesn't go perfectly, even if we stumble along the way, I'd rather walk those steps with you. You have no idea how much I've missed you, and not just the old you, not just who you were, but who you are now." Carly exhaled slowly, her breath mingling with the cool night air. "What if it doesn't work? What if we end up just hurting each other again?" "Then at least we tried," he answered, his voice steady, like an anchor in a storm. "But if we don't at least attempt this, we'll never know. And I've wasted enough time being scared. I want to let you drift away again." The silence enveloped them, rich with unspoken possibilities. A moment stretched out, and Charlie could feel the tension shift, a taut line slowly unwinding between them. Carly's expression softened, and what was once a barrier began to fade. "Okay," she said softly, a tentative smile breaking like dawn after a long night. "Let's try. I'm not promising perfection, but I'll try." His heart surged with warmth, relief washing over him like the first rays of sunlight breaking through after a stormy night. "That's all I ask." Just then, the door swung open behind them, spilling brightly colored light and laughter into the night. Clara poked her head out, her eyes wide with anticipation. "Hey! Are you two planning to stand out here all night? You're missing the epic dance-off. Get in here." Both of them turned, laughter erupting involuntarily as the moment snapped like a strong cord, bringing them back to the buzz of life and friends inside. As they walked back toward the open door, shoulder to shoulder, Charlie couldn't help but feel a buoyant sense of possibility building. There might be bumps and bruises ahead, but this felt right. Just as they stepped into the glow of the room, Carly looked up at him, her smile warming him from the inside out. "Whatever happens next, I'm glad we took this step." He matched her smile, heart full of hope. "Me too." But just as his gaze held hers, a crash came from inside, cutting through the excitement. Suddenly, the chatter turned to gasps, and the atmosphere shifted. What could have gone wrong in the middle of their hopeful beginning? Charlie's stomach dropped as he caught sight of the group, now frozen with concern. What awaited them that could shake their newfound connection just moments after they found it? Charlie instinctively took a step forward, pulling Carly along with him. The sounds of laughter faded, replaced by whispers of confusion and fear. His heart raced as he scanned the crowd, searching for the source of chaos. In the center of the room, a table had flipped over, its contents scattered across the floor like a jigsaw puzzle of disappointment. A group of friends stood frozen, eyes wide with shock, staring down at Clara, who was sprawled on the ground, her ankle twisted at an odd angle. "Clara!" Charlie shouted, his voice slicing through the murmur of the crowd. He rushed toward her, Carly close behind. The excitement had shifted to panic, pulling the air from the room, leaving an uneasy silence filled with concern. "I can't move," Clara gasped, her face pale. "I think I landed on it wrong." "Hold on, don't try to move," Charlie urged, kneeling beside her. He could feel the fear creeping up on him, knotting his stomach. His eyes flicked to Carly, who stood behind him, her visage paling as she took in the scene. "Someone call for help." Carly's voice rang out, breaking through the shell of shock. She moved quickly, running toward the crowd of people who had grabbed their phones, all trying to do the right thing at once. Charlie could feel the sting of recognition. It was always the unexpected moments that seemed to diffuse whatever peace they had built. Charlie turned back to Clara. "You're going to be okay. Just breathe. Help will be here soon." There was a soft tremor in his hands as he took her uninjured foot, surveying the scene, the fear in his heart surging like a tide. It was unbelievable how quickly everything could change. A moment of laughter, a step into the light, and now this, a reminder that life was messy, unpredictable. Just when they started to find their way back, chaos reappeared. Carly returned just as paramedics arrived, determination etched on her face. "They're here," she murmured, relief mixing with worry. She knelt beside him, their shoulders touching, both of them working together to keep Clara calm. As the medics assessed Clara's ankle, Charlie felt the weight of the moment. Would they really be able to navigate their past if they couldn't even handle a simple night with friends? "Stay with me, Clara," Carly urged, gently holding her hand. "You're going to get through this. And we're all here for you." A warmth surged in Charlie's chest at Carly's words. It resonated with the promise they had just made outside, the commitment to be there for each other together. In the middle of the turmoil, they were still standing shoulder to shoulder, both pulling strength from the chaos. After what felt like an eternity, Clara was carefully lifted onto a stretcher. Charlie watched as her face twisted in pain and fear. His heart felt heavy. It was like an anchor pulling down the happiness they'd just begun to find. Carly squeezed his hand, her eyes full of empathy. "We should follow them," she said softly, her voice a steady balm amidst the storm. He nodded, feeling the warmth of her skin against his, grounding him in the moment. "Let us go." As they exited the party, the cool night air hit them like a refreshing splash of water after being underwater. With every step they took, Charlie realized that the journey ahead wouldn't be simple. They had been thrust into a moment of uncertainty, but he felt a renewed sense of hope. "Carly," he started, a new thought forming in his mind. "This doesn't change anything, you know. We're still in this together." But before he could finish, Carly turned, eyes wide and a new resolve settling in. "Charlie, what if this is exactly what we needed? A moment to remind us of the fragility of everything? What if we use this to grow?" He stared at her, struck by her insight. There it was, raw and real. Sometimes chaos could be a catalyst for something beautiful. "Maybe you're right," he admitted, feeling a small smile pull at the corners of his mouth. "Maybe this could be our chance to reshape everything." They reached the ambulance just as the doors swung shut, taking Clara into the night. But just as they caught each other's gaze, their phones buzzed in unison. A text, somehow timed perfectly with the moment, urgent and unexpected, hinting at something that would challenge everything they believed about their friendship. "What's that?" Charlie asked, curiosity peaking as he pulled out his phone. "I don't know," Carly replied, her voice trailing off, eyes narrowing at the screen. The words flickered before them, the weight of a new revelation ready to shift everything once more. What awaited them in that message could change the course of their journey forever. The text message glowed on Charlie's screen, the words seemingly dancing before his eyes. His heart raced. The message was from one of Clara's friends, sharing news that would shake their already wobbly world. Clara had suffered a serious break, and they were uncertain about what that would mean for her recovery and ability to return to work. An icy dread washed over Charlie. Just when they had begun unearthing their buried truths, just as he and Carly had found their momentum, their connection strong and promising, this challenge loomed a potential pitfall. Carly looked at him, wide-eyed and fearful. "What are we going to do now, Charlie? Clara needs us. We can't let her down." Determination bubbled within him, pushing the fear aside. "You're right," he replied, squeezing her hand. "We'll support her. We need to organize visits, meals, whatever it takes." The heat of his resolve ignited the connection between them, and he felt it in the way they stood together, their shoulders brushing, the tension around them unraveling with each shared breath. Carly smiled, her spirit lighting up in the dark. "She'll need her community more than ever. We can make sure she knows she's not alone." "Exactly. We owe that to her," Charlie said, thinking of the old wooden booths in the Cracker Barrel and the laughter that echoed there. Their place, like Clara, was worth saving. The reality of their mission sank in, and the heaviness of what they were facing transformed into determination. He could see a spark in Carly as she began to brainstorm. "What if we set up a meal train? A rotation of the whole town bringing her meals so she knows how much we care? And maybe we can organize some ready-made activities for her, too." "That's brilliant." Charlie's chest swelled with pride and gratitude for her initiative. "We can build a team right here tonight. Once we get back inside, we'll grab everyone, talk it through together." In that moment, a new clarity washed over him. They weren't just building a bridge to heal their own wounds, they were weaving the tapestry of community together, bringing everyone back into the fold through the kind of love and support that the Cracker Barrel had always represented. As they made their way back toward the gathering, their hearts surged with renewed hope. Yet amidst that hope, Charlie felt a flicker of fear still. What if they couldn't carry it all? What if the weight of the impending uncertainty broke them again? But looking over at Carly, he felt strength emanating from her unwavering spirit. Whatever happened next, they would face it side by side. Once inside, the crowd's noise enveloped them. Charlie stepped up onto a table, heart racing. "Hey everyone, can I have your attention?" The murmurs quieted as heads turned toward him. "Clara needs our help. She's gonna be laid up for a while, and we need to rally for her. I know we all have our own lives, but this is our chance to come together, like we've talked about. We can do the meal train and activities to keep her company." He caught sight of the town librarian, Clara, her eyes sparkling with unyielding support. I'll coordinate the meal train. I can create a sign-up sheet. An encouraging wave of energy surged through the room. The community that had seemed fractured began to buzz with excitement, old barriers breaking down as they went back to the roots of what had once made them strong. People began shouting ideas, offering help, laughter and chatter ignited with the same warmth they had fought to preserve, and through it all, Charlie and Carly found each other again, their unspoken connection growing fervent and bright, reassured by the aura of support shaping around them. As people began to move with purpose, Charlie turned to Carly. "This is really happening, isn't it?" "Yeah," she said, her eyes shining fiercely. "This is exactly what we needed. The community hasn't just survived, it's alive." An overwhelming sense of unity swept through them, a promise emerging from the ashes of uncertainty: they would lean on each other. They would rebuild not only the Cracker Barrel but the very foundation of trust and connection that the town had almost lost. As they plunged deeper into action, preparing for the days to come, Charlie looked around and knew they weren't just saving Clara, they were sewing together the fabric of their community, knitting it stronger, tighter. Then, amidst the chorus of shared laughter and newfound efforts, he felt the tightness in his chest ease. Leaning toward Carly, he whispered, "I'm thankful for you, you know. We're in this together." She smiled, her eyes glimmering. "Always. And no matter what else comes our way, we'll face it together." The words hung in the air like a promise of hope, connection, and understanding. And just as their spirits soared, they felt the warmth of River's Bend embracing them, the journey ahead bubbling with possibility and love. Now it was time for action, to truly embrace the spirit of community. And as they prepared to dive into the whirlwind of support for Clara, Charlie couldn't shake the feeling that they were not just embarking on a task, they were diving headfirst into a world of change, a world that crackled with light and laughter, reminiscent of their beloved Cracker Barrel. But most importantly, they were stepping into a future that allowed them both to heal, together, one meal, one story, one memory at a time. So, if you believe in the power of community, in the magic of connection, and the beauty of second chances, hit that subscribe button now. You need to stay in the loop for future stories that will inspire and uplift. Leave a like right away to help carry this message to more hearts. We want to hear your thoughts on this journey. Comment below with your feelings. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who could use a little warmth in their lives. True fans understand the power of support. Let us elevate those around us.